They look like toys: small frames, plastic propellers, a fisheye lens, and a buzzing motor that sounds like a wasp. But these little machines are rewriting the rules of modern warfare. In Ukraine, a soldier with a pair of FPV goggles and a remote controller can destroy a multi-million-dollar tank, and he can do it for the price of a smartphone. This is the strange, brutal equation of modern combat: a $200 drone versus a $5 million machine. And more often than not, the drone wins. The story of these FPV drones, first-person view drones, begins far from the battlefield. They started in garages and hobby shops. Teenagers raced them through obstacle courses, streamed their flights on YouTube, and competed in drone racing leagues. But in 2022, Ukrainian soldiers saw something more: speed, maneuverability, precision, and a live camera feed. They realized a racing drone could become a weapon. At first, the idea sounded almost absurd. Could a few soldiers with soldering irons and GoPros really challenge an army with tanks, artillery, and attack helicopters? But desperation breeds innovation. Ukrainian volunteers began attaching grenades and small explosive charges to drones. They tested homemade frames, batteries, and control systems. Within months, the first improvised FPV units were operational, and Russian tanks began exploding on camera. The secret of the FPV drone lies in its simplicity. There's no autopilot, no satellite guidance, no high-tech targeting system. A human pilot wearing goggles sees what the drone sees and steers it straight into the target. It's direct, it's brutal, and it's effective. Each drone can fly several kilometers, dive at speeds over 150 kilometers per hour, and strike with pinpoint accuracy, especially against the weak points of armored vehicles. What makes it terrifying for Russia isn't just the technology, it's the cost. A single FPV drone costs between $200 and $500 to build. The target might be a T-90 tank worth millions, or an artillery system worth even more. Ukraine has created a war of economics, where cheap drones bleed expensive armies. Inside makeshift workshops and basements across Ukraine, volunteers and engineers assemble these drones by the thousands. Motors, batteries, antennas, all sourced from global online stores. Some parts come from racing drone kits, others from Chinese marketplaces. In the early days, volunteers paid for components out of their own pockets. Now, specialized units like the Wild Hornets, Achilles, or Madyar's birds operate with military support and standardized production. Every FPV strike begins with preparation. Pilots train using simulators, mastering split-second maneuvers. They study tank vulnerabilities, hatches, rear engine decks, and top armor, where a small-shaped charge can cause catastrophic damage. When the moment comes, an operator kneels behind a tree or in a trench, goggles over his eyes, and thumbs on the controller. He flies low, weaving through terrain, guided by the drone's live feed. When the target fills the screen, there's no hesitation, just a flash, a roar, and static. This is what the battlefield looks like in 2025. Columns of Russian vehicles move cautiously, their commanders scanning the skies not for jets, but for tiny buzzing dots. Even when Russia deploys electronic jamming and anti-drone guns, it can't stop them all. The drones are too many, too cheap, and too fast to intercept completely. Over time, Ukraine has refined FPV tactics into an art. There are three main approaches. The first is the precision strike, a single drone guided directly into a vulnerable target, the engine deck of a tank, the open hatch of an armored personnel carrier, or a group of soldiers behind cover. The second is saturation. Several drones launched simultaneously to overwhelm defenses. If one is jammed, the others get through. And the third is recon-kill integration. One drone spots the target, transmits coordinates, and a second drone delivers the strike. This combination has proven devastating. FPV units can disable entire convoys before traditional artillery even fires a shot. The psychological impact is enormous. Russian soldiers now refer to the drones as Banderovsky komari, Banderite mosquitoes. They come suddenly, buzz close, and strike without warning. Verified footage shows FPV drones destroying T-72 and T-90 tanks, self-propelled howitzers, radar systems, even landing helicopters. In one clip, a drone flies through the open door of a Russian bunker before detonating inside. In another, several drones chase down retreating vehicles along a muddy road, hitting them one by one. Analysts estimate that small drones, FPV and reconnaissance combined, are responsible for a majority of visually confirmed Russian equipment losses in certain regions. That means drones are now doing more damage than artillery or airstrikes in some zones. One operation, nicknamed Spiderweb, involved dozens of FPVs launched in coordination, targeting Russian depots and logistics hubs deep behind the front lines. Independent analysis later suggested that damage from that single wave could total tens of millions of dollars in destroyed vehicles and supplies. Even Russia's most advanced hardware isn't safe. Thermal cameras and night vision systems allow Ukrainian pilots to fly FPVs at night. Anti-drone shields welded onto tanks help a little, but the drones adapt, diving from above or slipping through gaps. It's a deadly game of move and counter-move. Yet, for all their success, FPV drones aren't invincible. They have short range, limited battery life, and are vulnerable to electronic warfare. Russian jamming can sever the video feed mid-flight, sending the drone crashing to the ground. To counter this, Ukrainian operators use stronger transmitters, encrypted signals, and relays to extend range. Still, every mission is risky. Pilots must fly close to the front line to maintain signal, often under shelling. But the overall balance remains in favor of the drone. The sheer number and adaptability of FPVs make them a nightmare to counter. If one fails, 5 more take its place. The success of Ukraine's FPV program has forced militaries around the world to rethink their doctrines. Traditional defense systems, designed to intercept missiles and aircraft, struggle against hundreds of cheap, low-flying drones. A missile interceptor costing $100,000 is not an answer to a drone that costs $300. It's the same cost imbalance that made guerrilla warfare effective for centuries, now supercharged by modern tech. As a result, both sides are developing countermeasures. Russia has increased its use of electronic warfare systems, radar-guided autocannons, and anti-drone nets. Ukraine, in turn, is building new generations of drones with AI stabilization, longer ranges, and better resistance to jamming. Some prototypes can even switch to autonomous mode if the signal is lost, diving at the last known coordinates like a kamikaze bird. There's also a shift in strategy. Instead of relying solely on large, expensive platforms like fighter jets or tanks, Ukraine is investing in mass production of low-cost drones. Factories now produce thousands per month. They are small, cheap, and deadly, and they are teaching the world a lesson. In modern war, quantity can defeat quality. The impact is not only tactical, but psychological and strategic. Russian troops now fear every open field, every movement in daylight. Videos of drone strikes spread quickly online, demoralizing units and exposing weak spots. Commanders must hide equipment under camouflage, move only at night, or build metal cages on top of vehicles, desperate defenses against a buzzing swarm. Meanwhile, global militaries are watching closely. The Pentagon, NATO members, and Asian powers have launched crash programs to study the FPV revolution. Because what's happening in Ukraine today could happen anywhere tomorrow. A soldier with a headset and a joystick may soon be as lethal as a pilot in a jet, and a lot cheaper. FPV drones have turned the Ukrainian battlefield into a live laboratory of future warfare. They've proved that innovation doesn't come from billion-dollar budgets, but from creativity, courage, and necessity. Every new drone design, every software tweak, every successful strike, it all rewrites the future of combat. For Russia, the economic toll is staggering. Tanks, armored vehicles, artillery, and air defense systems destroyed by drones now represent billions in losses. For Ukraine, each successful strike is proof that even the smallest force with limited resources can fight a technologically superior enemy. This is the era of asymmetric warfare, where intelligence, speed, and adaptability matter more than size. FPV drones embody that change. They're fast, cheap, and merciless. The sound of their rotors has become the soundtrack of a new kind of war, one fought not just with machines, but with imagination. So the next time you see a clip of a drone darting toward a tank, remember what you're watching isn't just destruction. It's the birth of a new military doctrine. The battlefield has changed forever.